Patrick's Day. I've got all my green on. And I just realized I got to share my screen. First time I've ever done this. First time I've ever done this. I'm on. If you don't think I'm on, hit the old reset button. It's a festive day. The market's up. I'm just going to say, don't let it fool you. So the first thing I want to do is cover a couple things, what's been going on, what I'm watching right now, and the 3 indicators that are going to help you all the most. If you're new in here, you've never been here before, no ticker highlight show today. Mark, the fearless leader, is out for a couple of days doing some stuff. It is I here for you today, looking at what we got. What do we got this week? What is looming as usual, as large as anything? The FOMC, it never ends. Never ends. Never ends. Now, we're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to get to that in a minute. But the first thing I want to cover is basically our market condition and what we have going on, the 3 things I am watching. All right? So the first is looking at SPY. For all of you that are new, that don't even look at the SPY, it's the S&P 500, 1/10 the value of the SPX. And over the last 30 days, let's even less. It has not looked very good. We have lost basically in a month, I believe we've lost 10% from the top. That was the bottom Thursday. Why? Why? As traders, it is not ours to ask why. It is just, that's what it is. And as of right now, we've got fear from the tariffs, which we all knew about in February, in January, right? When that all started. Remember, we had NVIDIA, like there's no more AI anymore. NVIDIA's not going to make money. And then we tanked. And then we went to all-time highs after that. Trump was going to announce tariffs, went to all-time highs after that. And then the Canadians and the Mexicans did not play nice. And now we have what? We have I would say, a pretty solid little 3-day rally here from the top. We almost hit, 5, 6. So the market, at least from the SPY point of view, basically took all of the cream out of the top of the market. They took all of the Mag 7 down around 10 to 20% from the top, give or take. Apple down 15, NVIDIA from 150 traded 105. But what happened down there? What happened at down 10%? Everybody stopped selling. Everybody stopped selling. Another couple of key things happened. Again, in my view, looking at this and looking at the indicators and how we're setting this up, but did we have lower inflation numbers last week? After everybody stopped freaking out. We did, slightly lower than expected. Is there any way rates are going to go down with inflation continuing to rise at, those higher levels? Boom, boom, boom. You needed to see some lower inflation rates. So overall, I would say that's probably a net market positive. The Fed will say something on Wednesday. How will we know we've reached the bottom? All right. I have a clue about that. Let me look here at a couple of things. Give me 1 second. And all right. The first thing I want to do is, right, we traded what I would call a market correction for SPY. And now all of a sudden, we hit that and we stopped. Right? We hit that and stopped. So at least for right now, based on the news that was given, the market didn't want to go down 10% more. Is it the bottom? I couldn't tell you if it was. I wish I knew it was the bottom. However, there are some clues we can use, and we're going to use VIX to help us with those clues. So the first thing is I want to outline what I call my VIX zones for everybody that is new to Option Pit. These are the things that help me sort of navigate. Let me get a little fresh sheet here for you. They kind of navigate what's going on. So here are the VIX zones. Basically, just to explain real fast. Okay, the VIX is the 30-day at the money IV for the SPY SPX. Okay, it's priced from the SPX directly, but the SPY, essentially, SPY is 1/10. It's an ETF, and it's going to do exactly the same thing. This is what the VIX is. VIX is the 30-day at the money implied volatility for the SPX. Now, what I do is I've broken it down into volatility quartiles. Basically, where VIX spends 25% of its time. What is implied volatility? How much the market thinks, right? Just think of it this way. How much the market thinks SPX SPY is going to move on average every day. So what the VIX is telling you is just what to expect every day. What to expect. Now, if we have a 16 VIX, expect around 1% move in SPX per day. SPX or SPY. If we have a 24 VIX, expect around 1.5% move in SPX per day. Now remember, that's every day for the next 30 days. Every day for the next 30 days. Okay, every day. So the reason why I help tell my students and why I watch this is because you always, very few places trading, the market's going to tell you what they think over the next 30 days. They're literally pricing it with their money. I was a liquidity provider for a long time. That's what I did. We priced what was going to happen. And then you decide as a as a player, market participant, trader, if you want to trade or not. So you can see how this goes. 16 VIX, about 1% per day on average. This is close to close, right? Close to close, meaning the close of yesterday to the close of today, right? So it picks up. So this is looking for the overnight moves are included in these numbers. Close to close will include whatever the overnight gap is. Now, if we have, so the reason why I have zones now is if I have a zone 1, which we haven't seen for a long time. Funny enough, really, since Trump was elected, just saying, haven't really seen zone 1 for any length of time since the election. Just saying. That's around $8.99 to $12.99. Zone 2 is 13 to 17.99. So VIX spends approximately, right at 18 VIX. Half the time it spends above 18, half the time below 18. And then zone 4 is basically when everybody's losing their mind. Market doesn't know what's going on, 24 and higher. So what I'm doing here is giving you just a rough idea of how to address vol. So right now, on Friday, we crossed into zone 3, and we're now trying, to get to the bottom of it. Now, I have a couple of observations for you about the VIX zones. My first observation, again, this is just watching it for the last 15 years, is, on a VIX rally, you have to hold the zone. Meaning, volatility goes up, VIX goes up. Everybody's natural inclination is, because half the time it's below 18, you want to fade it. You want to sell it. So what in my head is, as long as we hold that zone, as long as we hold that quartile, the quartile, the zone is just sentiment. The zone is market sentiment. When we're in a zone 4 sentiment, everybody's losing their mind. So on a VIX move up, you have to hold the zone to keep the rally going. So that means is we can go into zone 4. Let's say you go to VIX goes to 28, 29, like it did last week. Let's take a look. Okay. VIX rallies up here, but even if it pulls back, it stayed here. Volatility stayed high. Volatility stayed high. Again, even though VIX was going up, we still made a low on Thursday. The vol wasn't as high, but SPY was still very weak. So I'll say that's kind of my number one thing also. Okay, also, on a down VIX move, okay, VIX tends to find the bottom of the zone. What does that mean? Again, now if you're thinking of this in the, take a screenshot if you want. So again, when you're rallying and you're staying in the zone, the sentiment, in my view, is the same. It's still whatever put you there is keeping you there. That's how you can stay into a VIX rally if you're staying in the zone. As soon as you drop out of one, as soon as we cross 24 into the lower zone, all of a sudden the market is switching gears because liquidity providers no longer need to pay all those dollars for option prices. They're not feeling it anymore. They're pulling the bid back. Demand from customers, from us, retail, everybody, funds, all of it, pushing prices down. And right now, we're at the top of we were just at the top of zone 3 around 21. So if I have to have a short-term target over this week to the next 2 weeks, it's going to be 18. In my head, to me, that's the logical number for where we are and where we are in our sentiment band right now. So this is how these are broad strokes, how I trade VIX and how I look at it. Now, let's go to take this to another level. If you like this, say, you know what, Andrew? I think this sounds okay. I like the way that you're talking about this currently. This sounds okay to me. So right now, am I looking for VIX to skyrocket up or go lower through this week post FOMC? How would you think? Right? Probably lower. Probably lower. If VIX goes lower, what generally should happen to SPY most of the time? All right. So again, simple SPY going up, VIX should be going down most of the time. Okay. And now, does all of this change if there's another headline? If the Russians blow up Kiev, if Trump puts tariffs on Africa or Latin America or what, who the heck knows? Yeah. So the fact that you're in a heightened, right? You're in a heightened state of all, right? Could move the market. So I would say in general, when you kind of get to your zone here, because again, we're in this area, be more mindful to take some of those, I would say, short-term profits. Right now here, SPY going down. Okay. VIX should be going up most of the time. And that's how the market works. So what I wanted you to have is sort of a little bit of a SPY. What I want you to do now is take the SPX, which is the SPY, just 10 times as big. And you can now get a little what to expect. The whole idea of trading, of using the VIX, is to give you what to expect. Now, is it reasonable to think that SPX could be up 100 points today and it be totally normal when VIX is trading 21? Is it totally normal for SPX with the vol we have, right? Remember, all of this predicting the market going up and down, all that kind of stuff is fine, right? You can try to do all that. I'm more interested in what range is expected. So if we're up 1.5% today, would you be surprised knowing what you know about how the VIX prices move? If we're trading 5,700, would that be a surprise with VIX trading 21? No. Right? It's all within what is expected. So when you're trading anything, right? You can use these volatility rules as well for equities, for Apple, for Exxon, for Google. When you see a volatility, can you convert this same volatility to a move for equities, right? So if Apple is trading at a 32 volatility, are you expecting 2% per day in Apple? Right? If Apple's trading at a 32 volatility, you expect 2% a day. So part of being here at Option Pit and just learning all, what we have to teach you is this is all stuff we picked up as floor traders. How do we use what the market is telling us to help us gauge, like, how realistic are those calls you just bought? Is VIX the trader's sanity gauge? VIX is, to me, I don't think the fear gauge is right. It's sentiment. Because it's not always fear, right? Now here's a question for you. Do you think 21 volatility, about 100 points a day, give or take, 80 points a day, SPX, you think that's a fair number right now? I would say probably, yeah, right? So in order for that number to change, something has to change. Does everybody understand that? There's something that has to make people feel better to get that number lower. And let me guess, who possibly could say something one way or the other that'll make everybody feel better or a whole lot worse? Powell on Wednesday. I wish it would be me. I wish I had that kind of power. All I have is a leopard, as a shamrock tie and my Irish sweater. I'm going to say Powell can bring the heat down. Trump likely will push it up. That's just what I've been noticing. All right. We've got 7 minutes, and I want to give you my last favorite indicator. Okay. It's called VIX 9-day. Now, what is it? So 9-day VIX is kind of giving you like one extra step, understanding what the accelerator for VIX is. The accelerator. Okay. So what this is all it is the VIX calculation, but in very short-term options. Okay, it's the VIX calculation in short-term options. So what this is this tells you the willingness of the liquidity provider to hold the fastest decaying options there are. Right? Now, one day, like 0 DTE options, right, can go to 0 or blow up. Right? So they're either kind of all or nothing. An option that's expiring in 2 weeks has a very high, what we call theta, option decay burn rate. So if you're a liquidity provider and you're holding on to a 9-day option, it's kind of like holding sand in your fingers. If the market doesn't do anything quickly, what's going to happen to the sand is literally going to drop through your fingers and those option values are going to collapse. In order for liquidity providers to buy 9-day options, there has to be extreme volatility expectation in the short term. This is much more sensitive than VIX is to that kind of movement. So, right, accelerator, right, it is the most 9-day VIX 9-day is the most sensitive for what I would call short-term SPX, SPY, right? X VIX and SPY movement. So if 9-day VIX is going up, the market is expecting a lot of movement in the short term. Now, the difference today on a Monday, there's something called the weekend effect. We don't have time for it. It's normal for 9-day VIX to be up a little more than VIX on a Monday. But again, if VIX 9-day is greater than VIX, expect larger short-term moves. Okay, if VIX 9-day is less than VIX, expect smaller short-term moves. Okay, where can I find these listed? You can get them on, I Thinkorswim has them, James H. Thinkorswim has, you have to just go into Thinkorswim and find them. Somehow we'll put out a paper on the different, platforms. I use LiveVol. There is a 9-day ticker. Let me see here if I could find it fast. Let's see, chart. Let's see, VIX. Is it VIX? 9. There's the 3-month, 9-day. So VIX 9-day is right on TOS. So again, you have to, familiarity with your platform to find these things. If you like this today, so right now, what do we have set up? VIX 9-day is 2270 and VIX is 2121. Does the market think we are going to move more in the next few days than VIX is currently priced? Because my indicator says is higher. Yes. Okay. We could be 3750 or we could all be crying again at 5400. Now, if you want more of this, write it down. We can do these things. We can teach about all kinds of stuff at Option Pit. Sign up for stuff. We got stuff up there. Anybody that has a product Option Pit has credits, come in. All righty. I also have we are sending out a 9-day VIX thing. Will be up somewhere. They're going to post it in here. Justin's going to post it. Christian's going to post it. I have a PDF of it. I got to go to trading desk. You guys have an excellent day. Hopefully this was helpful. If is 18 VIX expected, why should the market drop? Market doesn't have to drop. It just, VIX has to go to 18. All right, got to go. Hope you like this. There's more to come. More to come. Bye-bye, guys.